Yeah, your boys are going to be in the house too for the Lakers Warriors home opener on Tuesday night. So can't wait to see Luka and Co. and then Steph and them boys get after it. So I will say this: the Wizards are sneaky, man.
I disagree.
They might trade his ass by the end of that by the end of the year, man.
He's must-watch TV, man. The thing about LaMelo Ball, you can say what you want. I don't know if there's a more talented guard at his size in the NBA.
Oklahoma City, Denver, and Minnesota last year would have busted New York's ass.
Why do you keep bringing the Knicks up, man? It's like every team that I like, you just want to talk shit about.
I think Luka's going to go crazy this year, no matter how much LeBron plays or not.
So, issue with the Lakers is that, again, roster-wise, it hinges on LeBron. LeBron's going to be out for a while. Father Time's taking effect.
This deepest roster in the NBA.
That's crazy. That's fucking crazy. In the NBA? You think they're the deepest roster in the NBA? I wasn't ready for this wild take of yours.
That's not a wild take.
SGA is going to be even better. Chet's going to be better.
Chet bothers me, bro. He bothers me so much. If Steph Curry wins the MVP this year, Todd's going to go to a playoff game wearing a Steph Curry jersey.
Deal.
If your boy LeBron retires after this year, and there's a couple more years of Steph, we'll be on the same team.
Yeah, we'll unite, man. Like Bloods and Crips coming together.
Welcome back to the Can't Teach Taste podcast with your boy Matt Ghanem and your boy Todd Tomlinson. You ready to do this NBA preview episode?
It's about that time, man. It's about that time. We got NBA starting up on
time.
Tuesday, so the Can't Teach Taste podcast NBA preview is going to kick off today. So I'm excited, man. There's a lot going on here, but ready for the season to kick off next week.
Yeah, your boys are going to be in the house too for the Lakers Warriors home opener on Tuesday night. So can't wait to see Luka and Co. and then Steph and them boys get after it. So, I'm excited, man. Let's get into it. Why don't you start with the Atlantic Division? We can talk about that. Obviously, your boys are out there. So what do you think about how that shakes out?
Yeah, I think the Atlantic Division, man. I think you got to go with the New York Knicks. I think that's going to be the top team in the division. Love what they did in the offseason with Clarkson and some of the additions they made. I think they're a deeper team. The Mike Brown addition, I think it's going to help him offensively, and I think the person that's going to benefit the most is going to be Mikal Bridges. Last year, the ball stuck a lot with Brunson. Wasn't as much movement on the offensive side of the ball as he would like. So I think Bridges is going to have a big year. So I think, Bridges, obviously, you got Brunson, you got Karl Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby, you got a deeper bench, got Miles McBride, I think is going to be better off the bench this year. Mitchell Robinson. So I like the Knicks, coming out of the division. And then next, I think you really got to look at probably still the Boston Celtics. Obviously, you have the Philadelphia 76ers right there too, but I think Boston is still tough. If you look at that team, they still got a plethora of really good wings and guards. When you got Derek White, still got Jaylen Brown. You got, um, Anthony Simons that came in, obviously. And, for all we're hearing is that Tatum can come back at some point during the year. But Peyton Pritchard, sixth man of the year. I mean, you got a good plethora of wings. I think you're lacking in the front court a bit, but I think that's still a good team that is, battle tested, championship pedigree. I think Missoula's a weirdo, but I still think he's a pretty good coach. So I'd have to say Boston. I'd say it's still going to be pretty tough. And then you look at Philly, and then Philly. It all depends on the healthy Joel Embiid, right? Maxey is an elite guard. I think he's going to take another step forward this year. He's fantastic. I love VJ Edgecombe. I think he's going to be one of the top three rookies this year. Still going to have to develop a little bit. Not a great outside shooter, but Jared McCain was playing great before he got hurt last year. So I think then you got Philly, and then you're looking at Toronto, most likely, who's kind of just in limbo. You got Scotty Barnes and some other good pieces, and then I think the Brooklyn Nets, sadly, are going to be finishing last in that division. Even though our boy Michael Porter Jr. is going to be going crazy this year.
Going for 20 a night, bro. Michael Porter Jr., let's go.
Him and Cam, that's the thing. There's going to be nights for him and Cam Thomas, or, Cam's going to have like 37 and Michael Porter's going to have 31. And there's going to be nights where those two guys just play good. And I like Zaire Williams. He's still a young player. And I think he's a good piece for that team still. And I think they got a couple of good young pieces, but I just think collectively it's not like a great team. They got individuals who can score and some talent there, but I think it's going to be another rough year. But they might be entertaining, man. It might be a fun team to watch. But I do think the Knicks are, you know, pretty comfortably the best team in that division, and I think they're going to make a strong push. And it'll be interesting to see what Mike Brown does with that team and the rotations and stuff like that. But I got the Knicks, man. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with you. The only caveat without running through the same stuff that you said is I think Toronto will make a jump, push towards 500 ball,
Hmm.
which will be cool to see. And also like Joel Embiid, bro, like this guy's missed more games than he's played in his career or whatever. Like this guy can't stay healthy. I mean, if he is healthy, but he can't. He won't stay healthy for the whole season, though. That's the thing.
No.
So let's just say he's healthy somehow, mostly. I mean, look, they could push the Celtics, right? But they're not. They're probably not pushing the Knicks, assuming health across the board. And so it'll be interesting to see if Joel Embiid could actually play. But I mean, outside of that, I'm interested to see Michael Porter Jr. to get some freedom and ball out. Obviously, he's doing whatever he wants off the court, so maybe he'll do what he wants on the court. I'm excited to see.
Right.
Um, but I agree, man. The Knicks should take this division. It's pretty cut and dry. What I will say is your boy Tatum said that he's going to play this year, which has never happened, where someone's played in the season after they tore their Achilles in the NBA. I don't believe. Kobe was the fastest one to come back, but I think I read that nobody's ever come back in this like the following season. So if he plays, obviously it probably doesn't impact the regular season record too much, right? Maybe it'll mean that they don't liquidate, right? Because they've already got rid of Drew Holiday, and they're getting rid of some folks. So they might be tough in the playoffs if he can somehow get into game shape and feels comfortable playing by then.
Yeah, no, I
So
agree. I agree. I mean, if he's playing again, what you got, Pritchard and some of these other guys, I think are going to take, steps. And Jalen Brown needs to stay healthy, but you got Anthony Simons, who's a certified bucket getter and scorer. So I think those
he
guys will
is.
keep them afloat throughout the year. And to your point, Philly and Paul George at this point is obviously on the tail end of his career. I think you really turn the keys over to Tyrese Maxey. And if Jared McCain is healthy, I mean, those are two guys that you continue to build around, and VJ Edgecombe. And if I'm Philly, I'd probably try to move on from Joel Embiid at some point. Not reliable, not going
The
anywhere.
problem is you
So
can't get anything for him, right? I mean, maybe you get like a little bit, but you're not getting anywhere near equal value, even if he's, because when healthy, he's a first or second team All NBA player. He's just never healthy.
he is, and it seems like at points he's even becoming an issue in the locker room. With that team. So if you're trying to, again, we always talk about culture and shifting that. He's becoming a headache in there, and you got a lot of young guys, and it might be time to move on and see what you can get. But it'll be interesting to see what they do. I mean, when he's healthy and he's right, and obviously we know how good he is, MVP, a caliber player. But I think the Knicks, should be able to, come out of the Atlantic Division on top, fairly easily if they do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, let's hop into the Central Division. Obviously, I want to get through the East so that we can start disagreeing because in the West we will probably. The East is pretty cut and dry. The East is not it.
So
I mean,
yeah,
there's a reason your boy went to like 10 straight finals or whatever he did. It's because he was over here. So obviously, I think, the Cavs probably take that division. Obviously, they're deep. They have the most talent, and they have,
I agree.
they're essentially the Rockets before they got, KD. I mean, obviously they had Fred VanVleet as a veteran presence, but Donovan Mitchell's, an elite, NBA player as a veteran. Indiana, man, you know, obviously if healthy could challenge Cleveland, but they're not fully healthy. I think Milwaukee finishes ahead of them. I think you're going to see a big year from Giannis. Giannis is going to have to, if he wants any chance of winning this thing, he needs to finish in the top four in the East. He's going to push. I think you'll see a big year from Giannis. I think he'll be in the MVP conversation. I don't think he'll win it, but he
I
can
don't like
maybe. I
I
mean, I
still
think
love their
you.
roster. I agree with Giannis. I don't like the way Milwaukee is constructed right now at all.
I
Do
don't.
you? I mean,
I
I
think
think
Giannis is going
Giannis.
to give you
Mhm.
30, 32, 12, 8. I mean, he's going to be out of his mind. He's going to win some
Yeah,
games for him.
He's got kind of some pieces that you look at, like they acquired Cole Anthony. You got Kyle Kuzma. You're relying on some of these guys to, perform night in and night out. I think you're right. Giannis is going to have a huge year because they're going to need him to. He has to do more heavy lifting than he's probably ever had to do in his career. Because obviously Dame's gone. There's no real like clear number two. Bobby Portis is a solid, player, but
I like Bobby
um,
Portis, but
yeah,
he's
I
not a
do
number two
too.
scoring option.
But if you look at, you look at the roster, there is no, you know, Robin. I mean, you got Miles Turner, which
I like
is a
Miles
good.
Turner a lot
I do
though, man.
too. I do too. They need help. They needed help down low, and I think Miles Turner is a solid player, but I think he's also on. I don't think he's at the peak of his career anymore. I think he's still a really good player, but I just
He
don't
gives
think
them
that
that
this.
he gives them that attitude that they don't have though, man. Like that little bit like fight, and like Giannis he's just nice. Like whenever homeboy's dad stepped to him, like you're not stepping to Miles Turner in that exact same way. Like I'm not here for that, right? But Giannis is just nice, man. That's the problem. He'll help him there. Obviously,
Yeah, I
too,
agree.
Detroit, you know, is gonna be tough, man. I mean, Kate Cunningham and
Well,
those boys, like they're gonna be
yeah.
tough, bro.
Yeah, I think Cade Cunningham is going to be in the conversation for. I think he's going to be a top five. This is my call out top five MVP. I think he's going to be that one player that takes the biggest. That he is him. He is a great player. I think Cade Cunningham is going to have a monster year. He's going to step into that superstar type role, finish top five. I think in MVP voting. I don't think they're going to win enough games because they did lose. Some key pieces. I mean, Tim Hardaway Jr. was such a big piece of that roster last year, and then I think Thompson will take another step up. But I don't know if they got better, but I think that the players that they have on their roster, like Jalen Duran and Ivy will play better. But they lost some key pieces, including your boy who got caught up in the gambling ring. Um,
That
I
dude
don't know.
could
I'm
hoop,
like,
man. I wanted him to go to the
he,
Warriors bad, man. Malik Beasley, bro,
Beasley.
he can hoop, man. He's
Like
like a
he
Malik
can.
Monk-ish vibes to me, bro. I love both him and Malik Monk in the same way.
He's one of the best shooters in the NBA last year from 3-point range. Would help spread the floor for Cade. So you lose him, you lose Hardaway Jr., who played really well last year. I mean, those guys are flamethrowers. So they didn't get better um, roster wise, but I think their young players are going to play better. So
I mean, Kate Cunningham, uh, Thompson, right? Like these guys are better enough that they could push. They'll push Milwaukee. They'll push Indiana, and then obviously this division in the East is the best division, top to bottom, right? Because they don't have a Brooklyn or a Wizards or whatever. Like this is it. You can't. You can't sleep through any of these games in division here. You just can't.
no,
Last year you had Brooklyn and Philly, and it's just like, I mean, those are dubs on the schedule, right? You're not even getting up for those games a lot of the time. So
I think Indiana is going to be sneaky good, man. I don't think they're going to be great. Obviously, your best player isn't going to play most likely, the whole year. But you look at the roster and some of the guys, I really expect, Benedict Mathurin to take a step up.
I mean, he's
TJ
gonna get a
McConnell,
lot more PT, a
he
lot
is.
more
So I
PT.
think yeah, he's a good player. I think he's gonna have, he's gonna step up. And I love Nemhard. I think he's a great player. Obviously you have Aaron Naismith still good defense, good defender, Siakam, Obi Toppin, and they're very well coached. So I think it's gonna be a team that's gonna be feisty and they're gonna play the
Well,
right
all three
way.
of those
So
teams are going to push towards like 45 to 46 wins, right?
I'd
All
say
three
so.
of those teams below Cleveland, so they're going to beat
Hmm.
each other up, which is going to bring their win total down, right? But they're not. It won't. I don't think it'll reflect the quality of their play. But yeah, I think we kind of agree. Cleveland, and then it's a mashup in the middle there. Obviously, we're going to see big years by Kate Cunningham because he's just that good, and then Giannis because he has to, right? Obviously, Benedict Mathurin's going to grow a lot, I think, and Obi Toppin will have to step up a little bit without Miles Turner, and I like Obi Toppin's game too, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. It's crazy though that they lost Miles Turner to an interdivision team, you know, with on over $8 million or whatever. It's just like how the hell did and we're not supposed to be talking about this now, but you don't trade Joe Flacco to a team in your division, and that's exactly what they let him do here. Like you just don't do it. So
Malpractice,
we'll
man.
see. Nah,
Yeah,
it
criminal
is.
malpractice. And then you
Let's
obviously I think
hop into the
Chicago.
Southeast.
Yeah, Chicago's
Yeah,
the worst team in
Chicago.
that division. We don't gotta get
They're
into
the
them,
worst team in
but
the division.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
All right, so I'm gonna go Orlando. Obviously, right? I mean,
Hmm.
they're a formidable team. Atlanta's gotten a lot better, and Miami too, man. I mean, I think Miami and Atlanta finish both above 500 this year. So they're going to sneak into the back half of the Eastern Conference playoffs potentially. You know, So maybe they're a 6 through 10 seed. They're in the play-in, but I mean they're both better than they were. I'm excited to see Tyler Hero grow. Obviously, Andrew Wiggins is a subject of potential movement. Same with Bam. Bam could be on the move as well. So who knows what that team looks like post trade deadline? But if everything stays the same, Atlanta got better. It'll be fun to watch them, play, duke it out. But I think Orlando probably wins 50 games and finishes at the top of that division.
Couldn't agree more. I think that Orlando's probably the best. I think Paolo's going to have a huge year. I think he's going to be kind of Nick Cade Cunningham type of ascension from really, really good
Banchero's a
young
bucket,
player
man.
into superstar. I think the Desmond Bain acquisition, even though they gave up so much for him, was can't be overstated how big that is. They needed shooting. That was their biggest thing. And Desmond Bain's a bucket. He can give you that outside shooting that you need.
He
Wagner's
plays
going to
deep.
be,
He's two-way also, and Wagner's a
yeah,
beast also, man.
Wagner's going to be great. So, Jalen Suggs, great perimeter defender. So you got some good guards, and I think it's going to be um, that's a really good team. I do think that Atlanta got much better, so I think it's going to go Orlando and Atlanta. I think Trae Young's going to have a really big year. I think Porzingis is a good pickup for them as well. Really good, young. They got Alexander Walker, who's going to help them and bring depth. Um, you know. Um, Yeah, I think when I'm looking at their roster right now, I think that they're deep, and I think they're going to have a really good year. Jalen Johnson will probably have a big year too as he continues to step into his role. So it's weird, man. Trae Young's like the vet now, but Atlanta is going to be. I don't even know if they're sneaky good anymore. I think a lot of people are expecting them to be good. So you know, we'll see what they do. But I think Orlando and Atlanta want to.
I will say this: the Wizards are sneaky, man. I don't know if they
Mhm.
they
I
they, they
disagree.
sneak into that. I don't know if they sneak to that 9 or 10, but
Boy, what makes you think
they're
that?
gonna
What makes you
they're
think
gonna
that,
they're gonna
man?
they're gonna win.
Explain
I'll
yourself.
say I'll say I'll say they'll win 70% more games. They'll win 30 games at least.
Uh, that's not
30,
sneaky
35
good. I
games.
mean, you think
I mean,
so?
dude, that's. I mean, they won 18 games last year, and if you look at the East, I mean, what
Well,
gets you in the playoffs? Below 500 puts you in the playoffs, right? So they're going to be a few games, 5 games, 4 games
they're not
out,
making the
maybe
playoffs.
depending on
They're
what
not making the
happens.
damn playoffs. I do
I
love
didn't
Trey Johnson.
think
I do love Trey Johnson.
that's
I
what I'm.
think that
So
he's going to be a great player,
is
and he might.
is 35 games is 35 games out of the question?
I mean, that's such a low bar. I wouldn't say it's out of the question.
Well,
So
listen
now
to
I know
this
what you're
though.
saying. No, okay. Now
7, 8,
your
9, 10,
point
11.
your point's going to be
Well,
that but at 35 wins you're close to making the play in is probably what you're
very
trying to
close.
put.
Yeah, 1, 2. That's 6. 7, 8, 1, 2, 3,
Okay.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That would put them 10th from last year.
I mean, I don't I hate their roster. I love Big Jones. I do. I think he's going to be a great player. I think he's going to be top three in rookie of the year. He's just a bucket, man. Love him offensively. But when I look at this, I just don't see there aren't many teams. They're probably the worst team in the East, man. I think they're the worst team in the Eastern Conference.
So then 35 games is way out of the question then, right?
I don't
Well,
know,
first of
man. Like
all,
I look at
Chris
it, like I think
Middleton will
the
give them.
Hornets are better.
Chris Middleton's going to hoop some. No, see, I'm going to argue that they're not, and and Chris Middleton's going to help. Obviously, they got Marvin Bagley, and they got 2 pit players, by the way, which probably isn't a good thing. But Bub can hoop. Bub Carrington can hoop, right? So we're going to see some of that. They got the young kids. They got CJ, who's got a little bit left in the tank, man. And nobody's getting up for the Wizards. That's the other thing. I guess nobody's getting up for Charlotte either. But I'm going to argue that the Wizards aren't the worst team in the East, and they have a shot. At some point, a little bit after the trade deadline, there will be like, oh shit, if they do X, Y, and Z, and they probably don't. But the Wizards are always bad, so that's why it's a benefit. So I'm interested to see. I would love to see it happen. I don't know that it will. One of the worst stadiums ever. I don't even think they have a fan base. It's in the worst part of the city. I don't know why anyone would ever go there. But they got 2 Pitt players, and Pitt never has anyone in the NBA. And Bub Carrington is sneaky. So I'm excited to see them. I might actually watch a few Wizards games this year, which I usually try to avoid them. So
Okay. I mean, look, and the reason why I think Charlotte, LaMelo Ball. I don't know if he's not a winner,
They might
but
trade his ass by the end of by the
he's
end of the year,
must
man.
watch TV, man. The thing about LaMelo Ball, you can say what you want. I don't know if there's a more talented guard at his size in the NBA. I mean, he plays like
Yeah,
he's at
the Warriors
24 Hour
could have had him
Fitness.
instead of James Wiseman.
He's a talented guy, man. I mean, just watching the game last night, and there's not a more
He's,
talented player at his size. And then you got Miles Bridges, who is, obviously a solid player. But I think Brandon Miller is going to have a big year. He's a good player. And then you got some guys. You got Con Knipple and some other dudes that you brought in through the draft that I think will help. And then you have Colin Sexton, who's going to come off the bench behind LaMelo and be a good scoring point guard. So I'm not saying they're good, but you got McNeely obviously as well. So you got some guys that could knock down shots, and they're not a playoff team, but I think they're better than the Wizards.
we will see. We will see. Someone on this podcast has to make bold takes. Someone has
Yeah,
to.
I
So
don't know if that's
I'll be that
bold.
guy. I'll
That's
be that guy.
fair. That's fine. So are you saying the Washington Wizards are going to make the play-in? Call it. Call
I
it,
said,
brother.
I said, I said, I said before that they have a shot. I think
Okay.
post trade deadline they'll have a pathway. I don't know if they'll get there.
Okay.
That would be the craziest take of all time if that happens.
Hmm.
I don't see a reason why they can't win more than 30 games, which would be a 60% improvement from last year. I mean, they've added actual talented hoopers that are older that have experience that can get buckets, which they've never had since they had Bradley Beal making $50 million a year, which is crazy. Also, Bradley Beal, by the way, transitioning into the West is the best value maybe we've ever seen in the history of the NBA. That the Clippers getting him for $5 million. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk
Obviously,
about it.
our boy Matt Ishbia is probably paying him like $30 million this year just to live in LA. But
Crazy.
anyway, let's hop into the Northwest. So I will make an argument right now, that all three of these divisions, the top three, would dominate the East. All of them. Bad. The East is bad. Like the Knicks would have a hard time in any of these divisions. So
I
that's where we start first.
disagree, but we can get
Oklahoma
into
City,
that.
Denver, and Minnesota last year would have busted New York's ass. And those are the top three teams in the Northwest Division, right?
That's what I mean, you said Oklahoma City and who? Oklahoma City would bust anybody's ass, but
Denver and Minnesota would have busted New York's ass in the playoffs last
Minnesota?
year.
Come on,
All
brother.
three of them.
Come on, man.
What do you mean?
Come on.
They
Busted
beat
their
your boys
ass.
in five. Light work. I mean, they win in
The Lakers
six.
were terrible. The
That's
Lakers
busting their ass.
weren't a good team. The Knicks were better than the Lakers at the end
They
of
have
last
50
year.
wins, brother.
But
50 wins.
the Lakers were incorporating Luka. It was they played terrible in that series anyway. But to say that the Knicks would have got their ass busted by those three teams is crazy. Maybe
In
OKC.
six,
OKC was
Denver and
far and
Oklahoma
away.
City by a lot. Denver and Oklahoma City
Oklahoma City
blasted
was the best team in the NBA. So I
them.
don't
Denver
doubt that.
almost beat
But
them. So
Denver,
don't Denver is right there. And nobody
uh, yeah,
forgets.
we'll
And
agree to
look,
disagree.
I'm not saying Oklahoma City wasn't the best team, but that shit should have been 2-2 with Memphis, right? Nobody wants to talk about that. Also, Aaron Gordon pulls his hammy and doesn't really play in Game 7. If he plays in Game 7, who knows what happens? I'm not saying they're
Yeah,
going to
maybe,
win, but they might, right? And
maybe.
so if you insert New York, the Knicks into this, they're going to finish third or fourth. They're either going to beat Minnesota or not, right? Because Portland's fifth, and you could throw the worst team in the West out, which is the Utah Jazz.
Well, we could talk. We
So
could talk about the Knicks last year, but I think the Knicks got. I don't think Minnesota got any better. So that's one thing. I think Denver got better.
well, I
I
mean,
think the
Ant's going to
Knicks got
get
better.
better. Ant's
Yeah,
better. But
yeah,
yeah,
sure,
to
Ant's
your
better,
point,
but
Denver added pieces. They added
yeah,
pieces.
yeah,
They're
Denver
better.
had pieces. Minnesota did not.
Denver
Well,
won't beat OKC in the regular season because they're not as young and they're not going to play it as hard. Denver's not going to care about being the one seed. They can't because they're older. You know what I mean? So they won't. But Oklahoma City, I mean, they're going to win a lot of games. They had 68 wins last year. I don't know if they'll win 68. Maybe they do. Maybe they win 70. Shit. Maybe they try to, if they start out hot, maybe they try to beat the Warriors 73-9. I don't know. It's going to be too hard in the West, I think. But I
let's
think
get
we can
into it then.
agree.
I think in the Pacific. I mean, I think I obviously know who you have as the best team in the Pacific.
I mean, I
I
think
would,
the
I would,
best roster is probably the Clippers.
I'd
I
agree.
think the Warriors could finish first or they could finish second. I think the Phoenix Suns have a chance to finish fourth and maybe pass the Kings, possibly. Although
The Kings are
They just
the
got your boy
Kings. I
Russ, right?
hate everything about the Kings. That team is
I
awful.
know.
I just I don't know what they were thinking. They've constructed with a bunch of old players who were once good. When you look at they're solid, but they're way past their primes, whether it's DeRozan or Zach LaVine. And then you bring in Russ, and then you pay Keegan Murray like almost
A,
$30 million a year.
a
So you're paying a
lot,
guy,
a lot.
which is crazy for a
He didn't.
all-star
No,
level player. He's a solid player. He's a knockdown shooter. He's a solid player, but you only pay all-star level players that kind of money. So you pay him a ridiculous contract. Then you bring in Russ. You have Sabonis, who is, obviously still a solid
I
big
love
man, but
Sabonis, man.
I
I like
I
Sabonis.
I hate that. I hate that team. They're going to be the worst team in
All
that
right, here we
division
go.
far and away.
Golden State is. I'll go on a limb and say they finished first. They're just deeper than all these teams, maybe besides the Clippers. But I'm assuming in this analysis that Kawhi barely plays, right? Because if he plays and they're healthy with all those guys, I mean, they're going to be super hard to beat. Obviously, they beat him in the play-in last year.
They
Granted, they
beat,
did. They
man.
beat him in the play-in last
Yeah.
year, and they were tough at the end of that last year, bro. They were tough, man. Nobody wanted to play the Clippers. I mean, the Clippers could beat any team in the West, right?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
don't know
They
if they
look what they
will.
acquired,
So
man. They got Brooke Lopez, right? Obviously,
John
that's
Collins,
he can shoot. You got John
Bradley
Collins. I
Beal.
think Chris Dunn's going to be better. Bradley Beal. You still got Bogdanovich. Obviously, you got
I love
James
Bogdan.
Harden.
I love Bogdan.
Yeah, you got James Harden,
Yeah.
who's older, but it's James Harden. Zubac's a
The Warriors are
solid
more
player.
cohesive and play
Batum.
together and all that, right? So I think that gives them the edge, assuming health, right? Because I'm going to assume that Kawhi's health isn't there. So if you go
Against
Golden
the
State, it's probably
Warriors.
the Clippers, then the Lakers.
I agree. I think it's Golden State, Clippers, Lakers, Phoenix, Sacramento.
We agree.
I mean that's how I see it.
I think Luka's going to go crazy this year, no matter how much LeBron plays or not. Like Luka might start. What is LeBron's not playing till like Thanksgiving ish time? Luka might be at like 35 and 12 and 9 or some shit like that. Like he might
I
be out of his
I
mind.
think Luca leads the league in scoring this year.
I'm gonna have to agree with you. I mean, I don't think he might average 35. He's gonna have to.
Yeah,
He's gonna have to.
I think Luca leads the league in
And like
scoring
even
this
just
year.
watching him, I mean, he was honestly just fucking around like in the preseason game the other night. I mean, he was step back threes, fucking, dancing in the middle of the floor, having a good time, which is the Luka that I like. I didn't see much of the complaining Luka. That's because it was
Oh, you'll see it.
preseason game. He only did it once.
You'll see it. The
It's
Lakers,
coming.
the issue with the Lakers is that, again, roster wise, it hinges on LeBron. LeBron's going to be out for a while. Father Time's taking effect. It could be a situation where he wants out eventually. I don't think the Lakers have any chance of winning a championship, but what you need if you're the Lakers to finish as, a 7 seed in the West or a 6 seed is you need Gabe Vincent, who you saw the other night. You need him to play great and give you points. Dalton
He
Connect.
was
And
wearing the LeBron, the same thing we have, the little back pillow. He was wearing it every time. Like it was around his waist. So he's got that back issue
you need
too.
him to be great, and then you need Austin Reeves to take that extra step to be an elite level player, night in and night out. And obviously, you look at DeAndre Ayton, who is like their biggest offseason acquisition, and he needs to be solid. That's what they're missing, a big man last year. You can't expect to have Jackson Hayes as your starting center in being comparable team. So they're not overly deep. Maxi Kleber is a decent piece, but you need Rui to play well. But they're just not. They're just a bunch of like decent guys that you need to play and punch above their weight in order to be a top 7 seed. And you need Luca and LeBron to be Luca and LeBron, which is tough when you're asking a 41-year-old with back problems to come in and be great. But this is the transition into Luca being the face of the franchise. So I would not be surprised if LeBron is on a different team halfway through the
Well, what
year.
I will say is, if your boy has back problems, tell him to stop playing golf because that's the worst thing for your back. I mean, riding a jet ski is bad for your back, and playing golf is really bad for your back. And he keeps doing it, and he's not good at it, and he won't be good at it because it's really hard.
Uh,
Here's what I'll say though. So as I look at the Warriors roster, they have 13 players that should be on the roster, right? So I mean, if you include Pat Spence, I mean, obviously he can't make the roster. He'll be the 14th best player that they have, unless they decide they're just going to get rid of like a GP2 or something like that. So it makes me think that they might trade Kuminga and one of these guys, because listen to this. You have Quentin Post, the 7-foot rookie last year who shoots threes. He played a lot. You have Pods. You have GP2. You have Moody, D'Anthony Melton, Kuminga, Trace Jackson Davis. Maybe he's the odd man out. Al Horford, Buddy Hield, Draymond, Steph, Seth, Jimmy Butler. That's 13. And Pat Spence would be 14. If, so maybe he's out. And then who's the 13th player that doesn't make it? None of those guys, unless you stick Quentin Post in the G League and you trade Kuminga and Melton and Moody and try to get somebody, I don't know. But they have enough depth, right? They're not top heavy enough. They have enough depth to make some serious moves. And honestly, they have, I think, half of their remaining first-round picks for the foreseeable future. So they don't need those either. You might as well do what Orlando did and trade all your picks and get a Desmond Bane. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm looking at their roster. I think
dude,
Trace Jackson
bro.
Davis.
I mean,
this
is the deepest. This is the deepest roster. This is the deepest roster in the NBA.
That's crazy. That's fucking crazy. In the NBA,
dude,
you think they're the deepest roster in the NBA?
I just listed 13 players.
Yeah, but like
that should make a roster.
I mean, but there's rosters that they wouldn't make because the other rosters are stacked. Like there's plenty of teams that
Tell me a team that Brandon Podziemski, Quentin Post, Gary Payton II. I mean, I think the fringest guy there is Seth, who was the fucking best 3-point shooter in the NBA last year.
I mean, you have to look
or Trace Jackson Davis. I mean, he's still young. Trace Jackson
Davis.
That's the worst one out of 13.
I mean, if I'm looking at, there's deep rosters. I mean, OKC is a deep team. Hell, the Knicks are deep. You got Robinson coming off the bench. You got Jordan Clarkson coming off the bench. You get that?
12. They're 12 deep. They're not 12 deep.
It depends. Yeah, I mean, but these guys aren't. I mean, if you're going through, I'm not sure how much.
I said they're not top heavy. I say top to bottom.
Yeah, right? Like GP. I don't know how much GP is really gonna.
This is a
Pat
fantasy
Spencer,
team.
Go ahead.
No, well, Pat Spencer's 14. He's not on the team. He's cut, right? Or he's in the G League. So the thing is this is a fantasy team where you trade, 3 of these guys for one, which is what they need to do because they're deep top to bottom. Like if you had to play their bottom 5 guys to start, they're better than any other bottom 5 to start. But the problem is they're not top heavy enough. This is the deepest team the Warriors have ever had. They've never had 12 deep. They usually have 9, 10 deep. They don't have 12 deep. Like you don't have Gary Payton II. Gary Payton II was an integral part of the 2022 championship team. And he's the same guy. And it's 2025. He just, he's just down, right? He's not going to play.
I mean, if you look, there's teams, right? Even OKC, if you look at the OKC team.
Who's the worst Mavericks, 2 players or 3 players that make that roster?
At the Mavericks. Interesting. You think they're the deepest team in the NBA? I need you guys to comment and let me know what you think because I think that's a wild ass take on his.
Give me a bottom 5 players like so.
When you say bottom
12,
5,
so if you take, they have the best bottom 5. They just don't have the best top 5, right? So they're deep, which is why they need it. Like, I mean, dude, you have.
This is the problem.
Maybe Quentin Post.
Good. I'm gonna let you finish your point.
So you go Quentin Post, 7-foot 3-point shooter, Gary Payton II. Seth Curry. I'm trying to think who else would be at the bottom. D'Anthony Melton, and then you need another big, maybe Trace Jackson Davis or something like that. That's that's a reasonable enough starting bottom 5. That's taking the top 7 best players off the roster.
Because here's the issue, man. Is when you get to the playoffs, every team's only playing 8 players anyway.
Of course, that's why they need to get better at top. They need to be more top heavy. They need to trade a couple of these guys and Kuminga and get something. I agree with you. They're not.
I wasn't ready for this wild take.
These guys.
I wasn't ready for this wild take of yours. I'll have to do some more.
That's not a wild take. I just know that the Warriors, when they were good, were historically the deep team. Like 2015, 2016 Warriors, they were deep, right? They were never this deep, but they were never this deep. Never.
They were the most top-heavy team in the NBA too. In a way. Well, you're talking about the team.
They had Barbosa, Livingston, Spates, like fucking Bogut. They had all these guys. They were deep.
But those guys were high-level contributors. I don't see any of those type of guys on this roster.
So if Horford starts, Draymond starts, let's say Kuminga won't start. Podziemski starts or Moody starts with Steph and Jimmy, right? So then you have Buddy off the bench, right? You have Kuminga off the bench. You have
Pod.
going down Pods, right? Or Moody.
Oh
Then
yeah,
you have
Pod
Seth
starting.
Curry.
Hmm.
Or Moody, whichever one they start, they kind of go back and forth on it. You have Seth Curry off the bench. You have DeAnthony Melton, who was pretty much starting last year before they got Jimmy and he got hurt. So they're 9 deep of players that can contribute. And then you have 3 other guys that I think are better than probably most teams' bottom 3. And maybe I'm a fanboy, but whatever, Homer, you know. So anyway, it's a stupid argument, but I still
It's an
agree with
interesting
it.
take. It's an interesting take. You might not be wrong. I do see that they have players. They do have a roster full of players who can contribute. So
I don't know if they
I'll
will,
give you that.
but they
Yeah,
could.
yeah. Hopefully you don't need them to. I think is the point. But you got
No,
them if you need them,
well,
right? So
in the playoffs you wouldn't need them to, right? And that's assuming Al Horford can be formidable.
but when you have an older team, which the Golden State is, having players that can come in and spell and not having to play Steph, 48 minutes a night,
I mean,
or playing
GP2 could come in,
Draymond,
or
or playing
Seth could come
Draymond,
in,
or
or
fuck
Melton, or yeah.
even Jimmy Butler, man. I mean, it's a team that you need to be healthy and have their legs, in the playoffs, obviously. So,
Those,
but look, I do
those,
think the Golden State Warriors are will finish the top in the Pacific Division just because I think,
and
Steph and Steve Kerr and Jimmy and those guys, and I do think the Clippers are right
this
there.
this feels to me a little like 2022, where people aren't giving them a shot. And in 2022, I bet before the season, throughout the season, every time they'd lose 2 games in a row and the odds would drop, I would just bet again and bet again and bet again. And I doubled down. And then when Steph got hurt at the end of the season, doubled down there, right? When they were down 2-1 against Boston, I went ham that they would win in 6. I just believed. I don't know why. Maybe I'm an idiot, but
Well, you're a fan.
this feels eerily similar to that, where nobody's giving them a chance. And then let's jump into the bottom. I think we probably go. It's hard to say whether Houston or Dallas wins. If I had to guess right now, I'm going Houston, Dallas, Memphis, or Houston, Dallas, San Antonio. Maybe San Antonio beats Dallas, and then Memphis, and then New Orleans is trash, although they got better.
Oh, they suck. Yeah, I look Dallas. They got so much length defensively that they're going to be tough to play against, man. Cooper
Same with
Flags,
Houston.
obviously.
Same with
Houston
Houston,
too.
bro. The same
Uh,
shit.
they're the real deal. The only thing about Dallas and Houston is that Dallas is going to be at some point gaining an elite level point guard, and Houston lost one. That's my
Oh,
biggest thing. So that's why I'm going to pick Dallas over
agreed.
Houston. Um, and I think Dallas has a little bit more cohesiveness. You bring in KD, which is such a big piece that I think he'll incorporate fine. I like Houston again. I think Thompson is going to be a star. I think he's great.
I
I think
mean,
Reed
dude,
Shepard's going
Alperen
to have a good
Sengun,
year.
bro.
Sengun's a beast,
Sengun.
bro.
Sengun was incredible in the playoffs last
He's
year.
great. So it could go either way. I'm going to pick Dallas, just because I think when they get Kyrie back and it's AD, I mean, again, man, it's all, hinges on the
If
health
AD's
of
healthy,
AD.
I agree with you.
They just got,
The difference
defensively,
here, though, bro,
they can
is
cause fits.
Dallas is better. I'm taking Dallas in a playoff series, sure. I'm just saying regular season. If Kyrie comes back in January, is very different than if Kyrie comes back in March.
Yep.
But by the end, I think Dallas is a better team because even though Van Vliet isn't at the level of Kyrie, to your point, they need Fred Van Vliet badly, though. So
Yeah, I agree. And I think that San Antonio is going to be third. I think San Antonio is not going to be a team you want to play. I think where Wembanyama is going to be somebody else who's going to be in the MVP conversation. I think he's going to have
well,
that.
defensive player of the year by a lot. He's going
He,
to win defensive player of the year if he's
he's
healthy.
and then you got to remember, now you're finally got some time to incorporate De'Aaron Fox, who's an elite level point guard, and you drafted Dylan Harper,
Beast,
who I love.
beast.
In addition to all that, I mean, you got Stephon Castle, you know what I
Stephon
mean? Like
Castle.
yeah, like he's gonna, be even better. You got some veteran leadership with Harrison Barnes, Keldon Johnson, who can play. Luke Cornett, who's just a solid piece. He's going to come off the bench, and he
He's a
did
big
pretty
boy.
well
He
for the
can come off the
Celtics.
bench. Yeah,
Yeah, like
plays
come
some
off the
defense,
bench,
grabs
and
some
and
rebounds.
he's
Yeah.
the kind of guy you like. So, Shohan, Um, I mean, Vassell, they have some they have some players, man. Obviously, you're missing Pop now, but I think it's still a pretty well coached team. I think Mick Johnson is a decent coach, and he comes from the Pop tree. So I think the San Antonio Spurs are going to be a tough team. They're going to be
The,
a problem.
yeah.
Um,
The only division that the Knicks could win is the Southwest Division. I don't know if they would.
why you keep bringing the Knicks up, man? It's like every team that I like,
Oh,
you
because
just
I'm
want to
just
talk shit about.
no, it's not that, dude. It's fine. Give me Cleveland. Cleveland, I'll say the same things about. I'm talking about the East because you're setting the Knicks as the standard in the East. So I'm just saying that
Yeah,
you
I
could say
think
Cleveland, and I would insert Cleveland instead of New York in this conversation for sure.
okay. I think I mean the West is clearly better than the East. I do think, we can go back to I do think the Knicks are a very deep and talented team. It's going to depend on if Mike Brown is any
Yeah,
fucking good.
yeah.
Which
Shit,
I
maybe if
don't
he
know.
is good, then you're probably right. Like they could
We'll
beat a
see.
lot of people, but if it emulates last year somehow, it's not it. You know what I mean? It probably
I feel
won't,
you.
but
Another, and then look, another team that's just kind of in limbo is the Grizzlies. You got John Morant, who should be that superstar, and he's so talented, and obviously he's done some idiotic things on and off the court. That's been a distraction, but you lose Desmond Bain. So I don't know. I mean, the roster is just, Jaren
it's gonna
Jackson
be a big year
is
for
is a good
Jaren Jackson
player.
Jr. too. Triple
Yeah,
J is gonna have a big year, I think.
yeah.
I
But
love
you
Triple
look,
J, even though
I
he's
do
kind of a
too.
baby. But
But he's good defensively. He can knock down the three. So you got those two guys. But besides that, like, what do they do to get better? You got Ty Jerome, who's a solid piece and a solid player.
KCP,
He'll be okay. Like KCP,
KCP,
knock down jump shots and play some defense. But aside from
Scottie
that, I mean,
Pippen.
yeah, Pippin's,
I
he
mean, he
he
could play a
he
little
continued to
bit.
get better. He's a solid point guard. I like Pippen. I do.
Yeah,
Zach Edey, I think you hope that he gets better, but this is just kind of a team that you look at the Aldama, like you look at the team and they just don't stack up as well against the other teams in the West. So it'll be interesting to see. I think John Moran, if he keeps his head on straight, will have a really big year. For he is superstar level talented. He just has to put it together.
he is.
So yeah, well,
Here's one dude I want to talk about is Denny Avdia from
mm,
Portland.
hmm
One of my favorite players when he was on the Wizards. I always wanted the Warriors to figure out a way to get him. 6'7", whatever he is, can shoot the ball. He can handle the ball in transition. He pushes the pace. He plays a very European style game, which is what sort of the league's transitioning to a little bit. I mean, he's somebody I would love. He's going to start for Portland. I mean, I don't know if he'll average 15 or not, and I don't know like how they where they'll put him as it relates to like most improved. But he's someone that could jump off the page and give you 20 every night. I like his game a lot. I love watching him play. Anytime like that's like I mean I watched two different Portland preseason games just because I like watching him play. He's one of my favorite players to watch. I feel like his upside's way more than he ever. And maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm off on it, but I feel like he could be a really really solid contributor to any playoff team.
yeah, he's a great player. And uh, Portland, another roster that is uninspiring for me, quite
Of
honestly.
course,
Like they have nobody. Obviously, you're hoping Scoot Henderson steps up and plays better, and Shaden Sharp and some of these high draft picks that you took the last couple of years. Brought in Drew Holiday, who's yeah solid, but again, like on more of the tail end of his career. Dame Lillard. I don't think he's going to play this year. If he does, it'll be obviously towards the end of the year. I doubt it. Jeremiah Grant, like Thibault, you got Robert Williams. It's just, they're going to be one of the worst teams in the West, for
yeah.
sure.
I
But
remember the last game of Portland season last year. I think Avia put up like 35 or 40 or something like that.
player,
Like he
he's a
actually
hooper.
played. Yeah, he actually played a full set of minutes. Like the problem is even when he was in the Wizards, he came off the bench, and that team stinks. Doesn't make
Yeah,
any sense. But anyway, someone
they'll
to watch if you
finish
guys are listening. That's a reason to watch a Portland game in my book if there's nothing else going on. So
in the Northwest.
I like his game.
They might be a little bit better than the Jazz, who are absolutely terrible.
Yeah,
So you look at
I
the
agree. I'm not
Northwest.
saying they're going to be good.
Although it looks like Ace Bailey is a player. Like
He's hooping.
he can hoop. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets, rookie of the year because I think he's going to put up a lot of numbers. I think he'll have the ability to do it more than a Cooper Flag because Cooper's just surrounded by better players. So I think Ace Bailey's going to get more opportunities to put up points and stuff like that. But he can play, man. So I mean, they got a
They
good
got to
one in
win
him,
enough games,
right? And they're
because
not
like
going to.
Cooper, if Cooper averages 12 and 8 or something like that, and he's a formidable defensive player, which he is, he's a high
And they
effort
win.
guy, so he's
Yeah,
going to perform on the defensive, and they win 55 games or something like that. That's the problem. You know
yeah.
what I
No,
mean?
I
And
agree.
he'll have some 30 pieces in there too, though.
And the Utah's got Markin, who's a good player. They might try to move. They should try to move him honestly, and just go with the youth
They should have
movement.
moved
And
him last year and the
they
year
should
before
have.
that too, and they just didn't.
But I like
Yeah,
Walter
they
Clayton
want.
Jr. I don't know how good he's.
Yeah, he can hoop.
He can hoop. I mean, he reminds me of
He's
a Fred Van Fleet type of
Well, he's the
player.
typical. Like, how many times do we see an elite, 4-year college player? Right? We just don't see that as much anymore because he was given buckets, but like usually someone that's dominating like that left already. So
He knocks
you
down
know,
big shots. He's a shot maker. I
I
love
mean,
his
he's
demeanor.
clutch, bro. He's ready. He's not scared of the moment.
Danny Ainge had a good draft. Called Ace Bailey's bluff, right? And he was talking about he wouldn't go play there, but it looks like he's going to be a big problem. But I think Ace Bailey's going to be a star. So I'm looking forward to watching him play. That team sucks, and I think that them and the Blazers will be battling it out for two of the worst teams in the NBA. Um, but yeah, you got to say OKC and Denver far and away are the top, two teams in the Northwest, with OKC being one and Denver being right there, man. I wouldn't be surprised if Denver ends up, being the best team in the Northwest when it's all said and
And
done.
if they are, dude, if they are, like the rub is that if they're 1-2, obviously they don't play each other to the conference finals. But the odds of them being 1-2, maybe they won't be, and then one of them has to play each other beforehand, right? So those are the two best teams. If my gun to my head, I have to pick someone from the finals. I want that to be the Western Conference Finals because that's who I'm saying the two best teams are. But there's a chance
Easy.
they have to play each other, in which case
Yeah.
they don't. They're not 1-2, right? So
It's,
let's say Jokic gets hurt and misses a
uh,
month or something like that. They don't need to push it. It doesn't matter if they're the 4th seed. You know what I
no.
mean? So
Look what they did. Already a
you know
championship pedigree team. You got a
they
backup
got better.
finally. You got Valanciunas. So you got a solidified backup for Jokic. I think Peyton Watson's going to be better this year. He keeps growing into the role. Just see if he can work on that shot. He's a good defender, good length. Then obviously you brought in Tim Hardaway Jr. for more scoring. You already have Jamal Murray. You already have Aaron Gordon. You already have those boys, man. So you brought in Bruce
Bruce
Brown,
Brown, bro.
a
Bruce Brown,
defender.
man. I love Bruce Brown's game.
Yeah, he's great. And then Cameron Johnson, more spreading the floor, more shooting. I mean, they got.
He's
I love what they did. Um,
But he'll cut. So like obviously Jokic when he gets his back to the basket when he's like 17 feet from the basket, he's looking to pass the ball. Cameron
always
Johnson is a much more willing cutter and like guy that coming off the back and doing all the movement and stuff that MPJ just didn't really do in Denver for some reason. So
agree.
even though I don't know if he's better, he has more upside, but he's probably a better fit for the Nuggets than MPJ was.
He's a
So
much better fit.
um
Love
yeah,
their
so
team.
all right,
And
let's
and and
let's
Christian
so
Brown. Christian Brown. Don't forget about Christian Brown.
Christian
Like
Brown's a
he's
hooper, bro.
he's a
He's a hooper.
player, and he's going to be better next year. So I look at like the depth of their team. I'm like, shit. They're Denver
Their
might be the
top eight or
team coming
nine is
out the
probably the
West.
best for sure.
They're
But
great.
I but
Yeah.
I thought they were going to win the I wanted they were my favorite to win the championship last year, and they didn't. But they were right there, and they would have busted Indiana's ass, dude. I think they would have I think they would have played them more. They would have been they would it would have been it wouldn't have gone. It's going to be a better series with Oklahoma City, and maybe it's the age and the lack of experience in that situation, But I mean, I think Denver beats them in 6 or 5. They're not beating them in 7. So
And then
um,
you got the class, man.
anyway,
You got it, and then OKC is OKC. You know,
yeah.
SGA
I
is going to
mean,
be even
no hate
better.
there.
Chet's going to be better. The whole squad's going to be better. Jalen Williams is going to be
Chet
better.
bothers me, bro. He bothers me so much. I don't want him to be good. I don't know why. I just don't want him
Yeah,
to be good at
they're,
all, dude.
they're
At
all going
all.
to be better, man. And they
I
got
know. I know.
They're
I mean,
young.
Jalen Williams is going to be better, dude. They're all
They
going to
have
be better. I
yeah,
know.
they got championship pedigree now. You still got, the dogs and Caruso and Isaiah Hartenstein and all these boys, man. Just they're a good team. They know how to win. And it'll be, look, there have been teams who have had that championship lull the next year. I don't think it's going to happen with these boys, but it'll be interesting to see how they come after all the success they've had and everybody's praising them, and we'll see how much hunger. But for the most part, we talked about this before. Once you get that monkey off your back after you win the first championship, it's like the pressure's
Helps
off.
a
You can
ton,
play
man.
free. Yeah,
Helps a
so
ton.
um,
Helps a ton.
so that's where I'm looking at, man. Denver, OKC, what team's going to come out, as the number one seed in the West? It's going to be one of
Well,
the two.
I want to see Anthony Edwards average 30 points a game this year. I don't know if he will,
He
but I want
might,
to. That's
he
something I want
might,
to see. He might.
he might. It's time for him to
All
take
right.
that mega leap too. I'm looking for him. Even though he's already a great player, I want him to take that next step.
So, MVP, who you got?
Man, MVP is tough, and I don't want to take chalk. It'd be easy to take, you know, SGA again. Um, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say the MVP, and I think Jokic is gonna win MVP again. I think the Denver Nuggets are gonna have a great year. I think Jokic is gonna just do what Jokic does, and I think Jokic is gonna win another MVP, which is,
I,
I guess
I,
that is chalk, but people don't talk about
I
him
mean,
anymore
Jokic could
in
win
that
every
way.
year, dude. Just like LeBron 5 years ago.
He
It's the
could,
same
but I
thing.
think he's going to win the
Jokic could
MVP.
win. He
But
could have won last
if I
year.
have to pick somebody else, I think that if San Antonio can find a way to be in the top six, I think Victor Wembanyama is going to win MVP this year.
So I'm looking through these divisions. I mean, KD will be the best player in the Southwest Division unless AD is healthy. Then it'll be either one of those guys. If you look at the Pacific, I mean, if they actually call fouls on Steph's shot based on the rule change and he gets 5 to 6 more free throws a game, he might average 30 on the best team in the Pacific. I couldn't imagine him winning MVP at this age, but I would love to see it. I don't even want to even say it out loud because I don't want to jinx it, but he could. And then obviously the two, Jokic or SGA could win every time for the next 5 years, right?
Yep.
They could win every time.
So I'll take
And the East won't
Wembanyama
have.
then, just to
I'll
to
go
switch it.
Steph.
Okay.
Steph or KD,
Okay. Now I think that
whatever.
Luka's going to put up MVP type numbers. I just don't think the Lakers are going to
I just don't
finish
know
in
if
the
they'll win
top
enough
seven.
games.
They're not
Luka's
going
going to
to.
have probably the best individual season for
He
sure.
will. But the San Antonio Spurs could be sneaky good, and if they finish in like at 6 or 5, and he's putting up crazy numbers, I think he might get that
Well, I mean,
luck.
yeah, he could, but I don't know, man. I just watching Steph in the preseason, man. He's freer, man. It's weird. And by the way, for anyone listening, go watch the Break 50 with Bryce DeChambeau and Steph Curry. They play from the women's tees, and they essentially do a best ball, which means the best shot of either one of their shots they use. And so they essentially have to eagle or birdie every hole. They have the best front nine that Break 50's ever had with Bryson, and Steph plays some holes better than Bryson. Obviously, it's the end of the summer, so he's been playing golf all summer. But I mean, Bryson at the end is like, yo, you should you should go pro, and he's
Definitely
that
a insane
good.
golfer.
Uh,
He's an insane golfer.
it's crazy. Yeah, he's ridiculous. So watch that. If Steph Curry if Steph Curry wins the MVP this year, Todd's gonna go to a playoff game wearing a Steph Curry jersey,
Deal.
for sure. So
Deal.
deal.
I
All
love
right.
Steph.
Uh,
I love, by the way, I'm a Steph fan, but I'm not. Yeah, I'll wear a Steph jersey
Once your
to a
boy
game.
LeBron, if your boy LeBron retires after this year, and there's a couple more years of Steph, we'll be on the same team.
Yeah, we'll
So
unite, man. Like Bloods and Crips coming together.
yeah, that's it. I'm gonna go rookie of the year. I'm gonna go Cooper Flag. But to your point, man, Ace Bailey. I just don't know if they'll win enough games. If he brings them like a little bit up, and they're not the laughing stock of the West, and it's because he's averaging 27. I mean, why wouldn't he win Rookie of the Year? The problem is Cooper Flag doesn't have to do that. He does, so there's way less pressure. And Cooper Flag will have those breakout games just because. So I don't know.
Yep. I'll go Ace Bailey. So we're
All
not
right, so
not
Cooper,
picking.
I'll go Flag, which is the cheap choice, but I just think the situation's so good, he's going to do it. Um, who you got sixth man of the year?
Man, this is a tough one. I think that I'm going Jordan Clarkson, sixth man of the year. I think they're going to incorporate him. I think he'll score a lot of points in this Mike Brown offense. I think the Knicks are going to be the top team in the East. So on a winning team, I think Clarkson could, come in and average, 15 to 17 points on a high octane offense on a winning team, I'm going Jordan Clarkson, sixth man of the year. What you got?
I actually bet on Kuminga to win it last year.
That's a good pick.
Um,
I don't
and
hate
I
that.
don't think he's going to though, because he's just not. You know what I mean? I don't know, man.
I
Maybe
don't hate
Naz
it.
Reid from Minnesota. Naz Reid. I'll go
Yeah.
Naz Reid.
Okay. That's a good one.
If
I like
Ant
that
balls
pick.
out and Minnesota wins some games, maybe I'll go
Yeah,
Naz Reid.
I like it.
You also have, DeAndre Hunter from Cleveland, maybe, but
Hmm.
I don't know. I just
Hmm.
don't think, I just don't know, man. I'm going to go Naz Reid.
Got it.
I
Cool.
want it to be Kuminga, but Kuminga's not going to work on this team, and hopefully he'll be gone by the trade deadline, and I hope he flourishes wherever he goes as long as they get something decent in return. I'm going to go Luka scoring champ, which we probably can't disagree on that because, I mean, it's
Nope.
just,
Yeah, no, I
he
agree
has to.
with you there. I'd
He
say
has
Luke
to.
is gonna lead the league in scoring.
Unless it's Ant Edwards, which I would love to see, but I don't
One,
know if it will
one,
be.
one of the two.
Yep.
One of the two.
Shit. All right. I think I think we kind of covered everything.
Covered everything, man, and we're
Unless there's
we're we're
something
on the
else.
brink. No, we're on the brink of this NBA season, so couldn't be more excited, man. I think it's going to be a good one. I think there's going to be a lot of stuff that we don't expect. I think there's going to be some teams that are going to be better than we thought. I think there's going to be some teams that struggle out the gate a little bit who are supposed to be good. So, um, we'll see how it looks, but I'm
Can
hyped
we?
for it. I'm hyped.
Me too, man. We're gonna be in the building on Tuesday night at Crypto. What do you guys call it? Crypto.com
We
Arena or
s-
whatever it
we still
is.
call it Staples out here in LA, baby.
I
It's
love to
always
see it.
Staples. It's always
Staples.
Staples to us, right? Everybody still refers
Hell
to it as
yeah.
Staples. Yeah.
So we'll report back on what we hear and see, because obviously, hopefully, we can get a good view of what's happening. And appreciate y'all listening. This should be a really amazing NBA season. We'll be able to drop more episodes and things like that. Hopefully, we can get a couple active players on the pod and stuff too. Almost have our in-person thing set up. So looking forward to being able to bring y'all some more good content. And this is where we're going to start really disagreeing,
Yeah,
especially
it's gonna get heated.
yeah, it's gonna be
It's
good.
gonna get
All right,
heated.
y'all.
And finally, before we got some cool sponsors that we're gonna announce, here shortly, and just shout out to all the followers, the channel, and the pod continues to grow. So thank you to you all, and we're gonna keep this thing rolling.
Yeah, we're excited, man. And before you guys dip out, there's one thing you can't do.
Can't teach taste.
Can't teach taste.
Peace.
Peace.